Hello again and welcome back to the PhatPhish Guitar Studio. I'm Dave and welcome to the Absolute Beginners series of guitar tutorials. This is a series I've been wanting to do for a while and I thought now's a good time. I'm shooting these videos just in the run up to Christmas, and I'm thinking there's quite a few people will be getting guitars for Christmas and want to get started with them, and they're coming at it from an absolute standing start, not played guitar before. So this is going to take you through the very basics: how to tune your guitar, how to start playing notes on it, and how to start getting a tune out of it. Now, when I teach guitar normally, I like to do these things where I talk to the student and it's interactive, find out the sort of thing that the student wants to learn and kind of tailor the lesson plan to them. So because I'm doing this on YouTube, that's not really an option. So I'm going to have quite a general approach here. What I'm going to show you is how to start playing guitar, give you something where you're starting to get results fairly quickly, teaching you some techniques that will stand you in good stead for when you start to do more advanced stuff later on. So it's all the stuff that you're going to build on. You might play some of the stuff in these tutorials and think, that doesn't sound like something I'm going to want to play going forward, but really it's about giving you a foundation and, just as importantly, giving you something that sounds good and so you can hear that you can play the guitar and start to get sounds out of it and get a tune out of it, and know that you've got the ability to take the guitar forward as part of your life. It doesn't matter what kind of guitar you're playing, whether it's an electric guitar like this, an acoustic guitar like that, all the stuff I'm going to be teaching you is applicable regardless of the type of instrument that you play. Okay, first off, let's talk about getting your guitar in tune. It's really important that your guitar's strings are tuned to the right notes, because as well as what you're playing, it's about how you're hearing it and what sounds right to you. So if you think about it, if your guitar's out of tune and you get used to hearing something that's played with notes that aren't tuned properly, then it'll kind of skew how you hear things and whether what you're playing is right or wrong. Loads of different ways you can get your guitar in tune. I've got down on my effects pedal board there, I've got a tuning pedal. You can buy separate tuners, little things like these clip-on tuners that just go onto the headstock. They're really good and you can pick them up for not a whole lot of money. Or what I'd recommend, if you haven't got anything else, is get yourself a little tuner app for your phone. If you go to the app store for whatever type of phone you use, there's some fairly good tuners on there. Just play your guitar to them and they'll tell you what note it is that you're playing and whether it's sharp or flat, if it's too high or too low. If you haven't got anything though, I'll just play some notes and you can tune your guitar to me. The guitar's got 6 strings. We'll start on the highest string. Confusingly, it's the top string, but it's actually the one that's nearest the floor. It's the top E string, or the high E, and it should sound like this if it's in tune. If your guitar doesn't sound like that, use the tuning pegs at the headstock end. If you turn them one way, the string will get tighter and play a higher note. If you turn them the other way, you'll slacken the string off and the note will get lower. So what you're aiming for is a note on your top E first string that sounds like this. And on the second string, this is tuned to a note called the B. Third string is tuned to a G. Fourth string is tuned to a D. Fifth string is tuned to an A. And lastly, the bottom string is the bottom E or the low E. Again, confusingly, it's the low E, but it's actually the one nearest the ceiling, and it sounds like this when it's in tune. Okay, so spend a bit of time, get your guitar into tune and get into the habit of any time you pick your guitar up to play or to practice, make sure it's in tune before you start. Okay, so that's the notes on the guitar. Let's talk about how we're actually playing those strings. You can play it with your fingers, but what I would recommend, and I usually teach with, is a pick or a plectrum. Loads and loads of different types of these out there. And as you sort of evolve as a guitarist, you come across different shapes and sizes and materials and so on, and you find ones that are more suited to your playing than others. As a beginner though, what I recommend you do is get just a regular size or medium sized plectrum made out of a material called celluloid. It's quite hard wearing, it's got quite a nice sound. Some materials have a quite dull sound, so that sound a little bit sharper. Celluloid's kind of in the middle there. I'm a big fan of it. So if you go down to your local music store, I recommend you get 2 picks. Get a medium sized celluloid pick in a regular or medium thickness, and also get one in a heavy gauge or a slightly thicker plectrum. Same material, it's just a little bit thicker and a little bit stiffer, a little bit less give to it. Use those as a starting point and see which thickness works best for you. You can get much thinner ones, but they're more for like acoustic strumming. The sort of styles I tend to teach, like I say, over time you'll evolve your style and find a pick that works for you, but as a starting point, a medium thickness or a heavy thickness, one of those 2 gauges will be best for you. Picks are really useful things to have. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. If you put a comment down there and say that you want one, I've got a stack of picks here. Just for the heck of it, if you're just starting out guitar and you want a bit of a helping hand, leave a comment down there, say you'd like some picks, and as long as I've got some spare ones there, I'll get in touch with you, find out where to send them. I'll send you a few out, some thick ones and some medium gauge ones, just to get you started. Okay, so let's talk about how we hold the pick. What you want to do is take your thumb and your index finger, your pointing finger, curl them around to make a circle so that the top part of your index finger touches against the bottom of your thumb, and the pick goes in there. You want to hold it so there's enough of the pick showing you're going to be able to hit the strings without clashing into your fingers. You don't want so much of the pick showing that it's kind of flopping around and it's difficult to control. Hold it in the sort of trying to think how much is shown there, about a 1/4 of an inch showing proud there from my thumb. And the other fingers, keep them in a slightly open position. There's 2 ways of holding a pick generally. There's a closed position, which looks like more like this, and there's a more open position that looks like this. I tend to favour, and I teach people to have a more open-handed position. So it works very well for electric, because you've got fingers free that you can go down, twiddle the knobs and switches and so on, the different controls while you're playing, and it's a bit easier to do, reach down to the tremolo arm or the whammy bar or whatever if you've got an open hand position, because these fingers are free. And then as you progress your abilities and get into things like hybrid picking, where you're using a pick and fingers at the same time, your fingers are kind of already used to being in the sort of position that'll lend you your style towards doing that. So holding the pick between your thumb and your finger, holding the pick pretty much at right angles to the string, and just strike it in a downward movement. And the motion should be coming much as possible from your wrist. You're not moving your whole arm. You're not playing like that. You should just be playing like that. What might feel easier or more natural to you to begin with, to be using your whole arm, but as you progress you'll find you want to be playing faster, and that's a really intensive way, a very heavy way of doing it, using up a lot of energy. It's much more efficient if you can just move just your hand. So picking from the wrist, a lot more controllable and a lot more efficient. So that's the sort of style that you should be aiming for. So just practice on the open strings, holding the pick, that sort of style. Pick at right angles to the strings. If you can see where my picking hand is, I'm not playing over the neck, I'm not playing right at the bridge, I'm playing at this area in between, and just a subtle downstroke on each of the strings. Pick pretty much at right angles, if anything tilted slightly so that the tip of the pick is high up and your fingers are a little bit closer towards the floor, but a very subtle angle. You're not going to be picking like that sort of angle. It's more sort of like that. So that's picking. Don't pick as hard as you possibly can. Don't pick as soft as you possibly can. Go for somewhere in between. Again, this is something that you'll develop as you progress as a player. But you can start to put expression into your playing with your picking hand by picking harder or picking softer. You can put some sort of like dynamics into your playing. And if you start off and you're used to your default position for picking is as hard as you possibly can, it's difficult to take it anywhere. So just medium sort of pressure on the strings when you're picking them. Right, that's your picking hand. Let's talk about what you're doing with your fretting hand.